to the show. Mike is here. Amy is here. Hello, Ames. How are you?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
I'm okay. Hanging in there. I'm a little concerned.
Why is that?
I don't know. I mentioned this like rash that I went to Grok for,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like itchy on
Mm-hmm.
my ankle, and Grok was like, "Bruh, here's just do whatever." But I've got like a couple little like spots on my leg,
Spots.
little spots, and I'm like, "What the fuck is that?"
Like, are they red?
Yeah, like I don't know, just like a little like a blister or something, just like tiny. And I'm just like, and I just noticed it 3 minutes ago. So I'm just like, oh, great. Now what am I
Maybe you
dying
have
of?
some kind of like poisoning.
I don't
From
know.
random ass bushes that you've got out there in Arizona.
Maybe. Yeah, but I don't go anywhere.
Well, I mean,
So
do you walk CC?
not nearly as much as I should. I take Cece like I throw the ball for her. And so she runs.
So she does the running.
She does the running and I don't.
Got it. Yeah.
But yeah, it was just, I don't want to. It's not like a big deal. It's not like taking over my world, but it's just like, hey, what the fuck is this? So I don't know. I got to call a doctor.
Maybe they're like spider bites. That's always what I go to.
Well, it could be.
Spiders are biting me while I'm sleeping.
That's even worse.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't know. Oh, hold on. I didn't check. Okay, he did. Sorry, that was AA Ron. And I didn't double check to make sure he loaded some things for us. So I have done that. We'll get to stories in a second. I'll keep you guys updated if I'm dying, whatnot.
Please do.
You had mentioned right before we went live that I thought I misunderstood you. You were saying you feel fat.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. Yeah. Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I don't love it.
So what is this? Did you get some people that like think you're some MAGA queen and they're taking shots at you or something?
No. This is totally self-imposed. Nothing was said. I posted. So I'm just depressed in general. This is a depressing time for me because one of my mentors at work who hired me back in 2006 is retiring tomorrow. Tomorrow is his last day. And anytime I talk about it, I just get super emotional. And I just I haven't worked without these. There were two mentors that I had, and I haven't worked without them since 2006. And one retired a year ago, and the other is retiring tomorrow. So it's just generally a depressing time for me. Okay. So I was looking at some old photos with this person, and we took one like 5 or 6 years ago, and I was just like, wow. I'm just so fat now compared to then. And it's really depressing. And I'm like looking at myself right now. I'm like, I'm just like a slob.
Yeah, I know the place.
That's how I feel right now.
First off, you look great. So
yeah, you have to say that, Mike.
No, I don't. I would go, okay. Yeah, well, maybe you should work on that then. You should probably get in the gym and work on that then. I would be nice about it, but no, you look great. You're just fine. But dude, we all do this. We all like, especially with social media and, like some of us love looking at like the memories that pop up. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, hey, 8 years ago, you and mine are all filled with like Easis or listeners. Cause I don't post a lot, but mine are all like Detroit Cast related, or even earlier, God forbid, Drew and Mike show related. And it's like just being someone in their 20s, 30s, you're just like, I could eat anything I wanted anytime I wanted it. It's like, yep, you're going to be 175 pounds and it's just whatever.
Yeah.
You're not going to be, and your face is going to be thinner and you're, and then
I'm just looking at my face now. It's just like this round, gross face.
You don't have a round, gross face. Stop it. That's hilarious. But I know what you mean. You look at a picture from 5 years ago and it's like, why do I even bother? What am I doing? Why am I still on this planet? I'm probably horrifying people.
Right.
Look at
100%. 100%.
I was going through stuff the other day, and I found my passport. Like, so much stuff is packed away, and you can imagine what it was like right before I moved. Things were just being thrown in boxes. The warden was there. It was just like, dump a drawer in a box. It was like, I got to leave tomorrow. And it was like, just get it on the truck. And so it's like going shopping. I'm opening boxes and it's like, oh shit, I forgot I had that.
Yeah.
And so I came across gross. My passport, and opened it up, and it was like, you alcoholic piece of shit, when you took that photo. I've never seen a more alcoholic, bloated face. Like, if I tried to pull that out at like the airport, they'd be like, well, who's this? This isn't you. Like, it's hilarious. There's a video that popped up recently. It was a memory, and it was me and Isis in New York. So I was doing Kumia's show or one of those times. Yep. I didn't even remember which one. And I look like a raging alcoholic.
Yeah.
Raging. And it's like, oh yeah, you mean the days when you were like putting yourself to bed with a fifth of Jack Daniels a night and then getting up and doing it again tomorrow? Yeah, those days, that was fun.
That's when people were calling you Chaz Bono.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. It was just like, and I guess I knew it at the time, like, well, this probably isn't going to play out well, but whatever, here we go. And so now I look in the mirror and I look at this picture. I'm just like, Jesus, dude.
Yeah.
So I feel you. I mean, unless you're drinking a fifth of Jack a night.
No, I'm certainly not doing that. I'm just like, I'm so freaking lazy in the winter. It's stupid. Like, I definitely get seasonal depression, not in like I want to off myself kind of way, but just I don't want to do anything. I just sit on my couch and eat shit, not literally, but like eat snacks and I'm not active. Whereas in the spring and summer, like, I'll go on walks or I'll have more motivation to, work out. I'm just a lazy piece of shit during the winter.
Dude, totally get it. Totally get the seasonal depression. Mine was more just like gray skies would do it for me. And I was like suicidal, proudly, it was just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
So I have no excuse now. It's like 80 and sunny and it's like, you're still not going for a walk, dick? Really? Nice. This is great. Yeah, it was the clouds that was keeping you back.
Yeah, it was the gray sky.
Yeah. Okay, now that you can't blame the clouds, seeing as there's 360 days in a row of sunshine, now what do you do? So, it is what it is. We're creatures of habit, but for sure, a lot of people in Michigan know that feeling exactly of like just a blob laying on the couch, all winter long. And there's no doubt, though, when I'd go to California, like every winter, I would always plan a trip out to California in the winter just because it's like, for a week, I'm going to get out of misery in Michigan.
Yeah.
And you don't see that kind of, I mean, you see it in some cities and areas, but for the most part, they're super active and it's the weather. So there's something to that for sure.
Yeah.
I was just a different level of piece of shit. So it didn't quite apply to me.
Your depression went beyond seasonal. There was a little bit more to it.
Yeah. I think people think I'm joking when it's like, no, literally I got myself up and was able to like pull through and do this for an hour and a half.
Right.
And then it was right back to Shitsville, which is part of the reason I'm here, trying to get to a better place. So fingers crossed.
Good
am I right?
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Am I right?
Hey, some stuff. I think you and I are going to do a members only show tomorrow. Patreon.com/TDC Podcast to become a member. I've got, I scheduled E-Rock for Thursday.
Okay.
And so I figured, you know what, I'd rather that out for everybody. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know what to expect from that. Like, E-Rock held my position with Opie and Anthony. So he was an on-air producer, but similar kind of career lines. And so this might just be an episode for me, like talking about Opie and Anthony, Drew and Mike. Like, radio nerds may get into it, but it might just be an episode for me.
Yeah.
So I'm
radio
just
for one.
It might be radio for one, and I don't care. I think I've earned that after doing 1,000 episodes of this for everybody else. I'm fired up for it. I'll make it as interesting.
Everyone will enjoy it.
Yeah. Hopefully there's some tea spilled,
different.
Kind of behind the scenes tea.
Yeah.
Who knows what we pull out of each other, but I'm excited for that. So look forward to that on Thursday. So I think you and I will bang out and you're welcome to be there, Amy. I don't know. You don't have to be.
Okay.
On Thursday. Like I said, it'll kind of probably be in the weeds, more radio stories. So it's up to you. But like I said, that'll be Thursday.
Well, tomorrow I am going to be quite emotional, Mike, because I have a retirement party from 4 to 7.
Really? So that affects you that much?
I have been crying about it for the last few weeks, like almost every day. Been crying.
You guys make no sense to me. Like,
yeah, I know.
Is this a woman thing? It's got to be a female thing.
For sure. Yeah. And I just think it goes back to, I mean, much like my first boss that retired a year ago, I think I mentioned he became like my dad, and he danced with me at my wedding and that sort of thing. And the person who's retiring tomorrow is kind of like my second dad. I mean, he was there just as much and, talked me through a lot, and just has been as instrumental as almost anybody in who I've become today, professionally, at least. And so it's just, it's super emotional.
Yeah.
And, to be totally candid, like, there's this weird imposter syndrome thing where it's like, I know that I'm good at what I do. I've been doing it for 16 years. But I've always done it with him, and I've always done it with the guy who retired a year ago. And so can I do it on my own?
Of course,
or am I just going to crash and burn, So it's just all of those emotions, and it's just a lot of change. And so Rocky's like, cannot wait for this to be fucking over.
Because
because when my first mentor retired a year ago, I was crying like all the freaking time, and Rocky was like, oh my God, I cannot wait. And then as soon as he retired, this guy comes along and he's like, hey, I'm retiring in a year. And I was like, oh my God, but we just fucking went through this.
Yeah. So, You chicks have a way of doing this. I totally feel for Rocky. I get it. It's like,
I do too.
Like for guys, I think we have more of an ability to like, we can kind of be dickish about it. Like, I don't want to talk about it, and just like stuff it down.
Yeah.
You guys are the exact opposite. And then it's like, oh, this fucking thing again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can this guy, I like it is one of those things. It's like, can this guy drop dead already so we can fucking get on with our lives?
I know.
We've all been through it and get it. So I'm with you, Rocky. I feel for you, bro. But no, it's a little different, because I was thinking at first, like, oh, it's just a retirement. Like, they didn't die. You can still text them, call them. But it sounds like it's a bigger, it's more of a, there's definitely a father figure element to
for sure
these people. And it makes sense knowing your past, your background, you know.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you do on a day-to-day basis. Like, I think of this as kind of your gig. So I like,
we can talk about it in a members area. I've been doxed enough that I don't need to talk about it here, but we'll talk about it in the members area. Fair
enough. Well, why don't we get to some stuff going on in the world? If you need to stop for a quick cry break, go ahead. It's fine.
I'm staring at his speech that's sitting here in front of me that I wrote for tomorrow. I'm going to put it aside so that it's out of sight and out of mind.
Have him sign it and then frame it, and you'll always have it.
There you go.
That was my move. I just made everyone sign everything.
Drew's signature was worth something. I don't know that.
Well, it's worth something to you.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, it's cool. This news just broke an hour ago. The Senate today confirmed Jay Bhattacharya as our new health or National Institutes of Health.
Oh.
He's running the NIH.
He's the new Fauci?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, Fauci was running the NIAIH, the infectious disease. This is like Francis Collins.
Gotcha.
That piece of shit.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So he was confirmed, of course, on a party line, 53 to 47. He became well known. He was one of these like super smart guys, super well respected in his industry, but went, hold on, that sounds kind of stupid. Why would we do that for COVID? And they were all like, what are you, an idiot? And then it was just like, cancel him across the board for not just kind of towing the party line when it came to COVID. So some of the people that became heroes to those of us out there that just weren't buying everything that Francis Collins or Dr. Anthony Fauci was spitting on an everyday basis. It was the Jay Bhattacharya's that were the ones sticking their neck out and doing, when you talk about 3-hour interviews on Rogan, some of these people made a name for themselves not going with these people. So he criticized masking orders. So it was just like, yeah, this is bullshit. This is whole cloth made up nonsense. These, throwing a napkin over your mouth. You know what I mean? Like if that worked, then farting into your jeans, nobody would be able to smell it, dipshit. Like none of this makes any sense.
Right.
So he was kind of one of those. He went against school closures, which looking back on, most reasonable people agree was a nightmare. Children were not injured by this virus. Go ahead. Now's the time when you point to the one kid who somewhere died or something.
Shit, I don't even know if they could find one of those.
They probably couldn't. He was one of the primary authors of the Great Barrington Declaration, a document signed by thousands of public health experts in 2020 that pushed the argument of herd immunity. Now, the philosophy behind that was, how about we just let this thing run roughshod through young, healthy people, and then we focus on old people, people with that have what did they call that? All the shit that I had.
Underlying conditions.
Underlying conditions and all that kind of stuff. Why don't we protect those people individually, make them stay in their house, maybe make sure they've got access to whatever, and let this thing produce herd immunity? And he was looked at as a monster for those. He wanted to focus protection on older, high-risk people. Officials like former NIH Director Francis Collins, Anthony Fauci, criticized the letter at the time as dangerous and unethical. So he became a pariah. He was a Stanford economist and physician, became a pariah. He went on to say dissent. So he was saying people were like, trust the science. If you disagree with Fauci, you disagree with science. Stuff like that. Just absurd statements. And people glommed on.
Crazy.
Insane. And I knew actual scientists who were parroting that. So it was capturing.
They still do.
Yeah. I haven't asked
that's what I
my buddy in a while.
So much to this because there's no acknowledgement that the Jay Bhattacharyas of the world were right.
It's crazy.
We just moved past that.
Yeah.
And, defamed them and called them whack jobs and, as if they didn't, work their entire career to get to a point where they were just shot down by fucking Rachel Maddow. What?
And there was stuff, if you wanted to see it at the time, there was stuff coming out. I think Project Veritas, did some stuff, but that's just dismissed as, they would, just dismiss him the way the media does. I haven't seen anything in his reporting where I go, oh, okay, I see. No, guerrilla journalism exists for a reason.
Yeah.
And he's done some really fine work over the years, long before it became a political football, something like COVID. Even Crowder's team, his Mug Club team, did incredible work. Got that guy blown out who was in New York. What was his name? Jay something, but who was just bragging about going to sex parties. Like they were just loving the power. And that story, while that guy got blown out from his current job, wherever he was in New York in public health, whatever he was doing, and it was damning video, undeniable. That should have been a mea culpa across media. Like, wow, that should have been blasted on every outlet. We fell into this. How do we beg for forgiveness to get back in the trust game with the public. But no, there was none. It's just like dismissed as Crowder or something. You're just like, okay, that's how this works, I guess. So he said, dissent is the very essence of science. I will foster a culture where NIH leadership will actively encourage different perspectives and create an environment where scientists, including early career scientists, can express disagreement respectfully. If confirmed, I will carry out President Trump and Secretary Kennedy's agenda of making America healthy again. So,
there you go.
Like I said, that just broke, of course, down party lines. But that's a big win when you're trying to root out these career people, with the funding, the grants that are going on. I welcome that completely. So we'll see. The other thing was the Daily Show last night. I was forced to watch the Daily Show, and I'm now going to force you to watch some of the
damn it, Mike.
Daily Show. Yeah. And I think it talks to the larger problem of the media, and it's with Jon Stewart, which, famous for his pieces. You want to watch some of it? I believe Aaron threw it in here for me. Let's see. Oh, maybe he didn't.
About the signal. Using
the signal shit. App. No, it's not in here. Hold on. Oh, shit. I'm going to tell them they're not. You're dead.
You're dead. You're dead to us, A. You done messed up, Aaron.
You done messed up, Aaron. Let's see if... Yeah, I gave him a handful of videos. He's going to... No, the hair push was fine. J.D. Vance and Elon. Yeah, it's not in there. Aaron.
Damn it.
God damn it, Aaron. Well, maybe we'll do it later. Maybe he'll put them in there. But it's funny. So he's basically talking about he's taking a shot at obviously President Trump and all the... I don't know if you've noticed this, Amy, but they're trying to paint this picture, this narrative of just the most bumbling, inept dipshits to ever hold public office.
Yeah.
Did you freeze? Are you there? Okay.
You're freezing.
Did I freeze? God damn it.
I mean, I can hear you, but you're the one that's kind of freezing.
Well, you were frozen too. And you didn't look fat.
No,
when you
were. You didn't look fat.
Well, it kind of doesn't work without the video, because then it'd be much easier to go through point by point. Maybe I'll hold off on the story, as to why. But there is a story that does kind of go to that about. Did you see the Atlantic journalist who says Trump officials included him in war plans group chat?
I mean, yes, I did see that. And what in the freaking world?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fuck up.
I think it is too. And I was just reading the article. I didn't read the actual Atlantic piece that Jeffrey Goldberg put out. He's the editor-in-chief of the Atlantic. You may know him from such previous home run pieces that he did. He was the guy that put out Trump said Americans who died were losers and suckers. Mm-hmm. So military guys were losers and suckers. That was one of his famous stories. Another one was I need the kind of generals that Hitler had. That was another one of Jeffrey Goldberg's famous one. He's also the guy that put the fair piece out there that Trump went off 60 grand to bury a fucking Mexican. We're paying 60 grand to bury a fucking Mexican. And then her whole family came out and was like, are you insane, dickhead?
Yeah.
Like your whole administration was ignored us. Yeah. And Trump was the only one who treated us like human beings, was respectful, and offered to pay for my sister's funeral. Yeah. But those are the pieces. So, that's the kind of guy who's coming with this reporting. Most all of those have been debunked, and other people have come out and said, "Are you insane? Trump never said losers and suckers." All of that stuff. So it's coming from that guy, but it is apparent that it is apparently true that he was on this this group text on Signal that they were using, and it was the initial invite apparently came from National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. Secretary Seth or Pete Hegseth reportedly sent the group details, including weapons used, targets, and timing, 2 hours ahead of the Houthi attack on March 15th. Others in the group, Vice President J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, Tulsi Gabbard, and CIA Director John Ratcliffe. In the report, Goldberg claimed Waltz connected him with on Signal on March 11th. 2 days later, he was invited to join a chain called the Houthi PC Small Group, in which they discussed strikes against the Houthi militant group in Yemen, seemingly unaware of the journalist's presence in the group. He initially had strong doubts that it was even real. I would do if I was him. Can you imagine getting that group invite and just be like, huh?
I'd be like, am I supposed to be in here?
I wouldn't say anything either. I'd just kind of hide in the corner and be like, what? So he could not believe that national security leadership of the U.S. would communicate on Signal about imminent war plans. He could not believe that the national security advisor to the president would be so reckless as to include him in discussions with senior officials. He realized the text chain could be real after the person who was supposedly Hegseth messaged to the group that the first detonation in Yemen would be felt in about 2 hours at 1:45 p.m., which was actually in line with what took place.
Dude.
Hegseth later said the surprise attacks were part of an unrelenting campaign until the Iran-backed group stops attacking vessels in the Red Sea. Brian Hughes, spokesperson for the National Security Council, confirmed the message chain was authentic. It appears to be, and we are reviewing how an inadvertent number was added to the chain. This thread is a demonstration of the deep and thoughtful policy coordination between senior officials. So he laid out the timeline. Team, establishing a principals group for coordination on Houthis over next 72 hours. The next day, Waltz texts the group at 8:05 a.m. You should have a statement of conclusions with taskings per the president's guidance this morning in your high side inboxes. High side refers to classified computer systems. Vance, who was traveling to Michigan, I love this. I love getting an in-depth of how they communicate. And, you know, I mean, it's just a group chat on Signal. So it's not, the public's not going to see it. But I like that J.D. Vance isn't just like, yeah, boss, what are we doing today?
Yeah.
Like, just tell me when, I'm ready. Anything you say, like for the people, like he voiced concerns. He was on his way to Michigan at the time, told the group, I think we're making a mistake with the strikes, arguing that 3% of U.S. trade runs through the Suez Canal, as does 40% of European trade. There is a real risk that the public doesn't understand this or why it's necessary. The strongest reason to do this is, as POTUS said, to send a message, J.D. Vance said. I'm not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now, arguing the strikes could risk spiking oil prices. And then he says, I'm willing to support the consensus of the team and keep these concerns to myself, but there is a strong argument for delaying this a month, doing the messaging work on why this matters, seeing where the economy is, etc. Hegseth replies, messaging is going to be tough no matter what. Nobody knows who the Houthis are, which is why we need to stay focused on one. So in the messaging, Biden failed to address this. 2, Iran is funding these fuckers. And we need to send the message to knock this shit off. J.D. Vance then appears to acquiesce. If you think we should do it, let's go. I just hate bailing Europe out again. Okay? Hegseth responded, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic, all caps. But Mike is correct. We're the only ones on the planet who can do this. Nobody else even close. Question is timing. I feel now is as good a time as any, given POTUS's directive to reopen shipping lanes. I think we should go, but POTUS still retains 24 hours of decision space. So you can see the discussion there, and what they're talking about is, hey, look, motherfucker, only 3% of shit that involves U.S. interests is going through the Suez Canal, where these dickwads are fucking around and throwing missiles at shipping lanes. So if we go in there and punch them in the mouth, we're essentially bailing Europe out. That's what we're doing. This should be handled by Europe. It's their backyard, and they're the ones that have most of their shit, all of their goods and services from around the world traveling through this canal. So once again, America's the only one with the balls and the ability to go knock the bad guy in the teeth. So we're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
And JD Vance lays it out like, look, we got to sell this to the American public too. They don't know who these fucking rats are and why we need to be involved with it.
Thank God they didn't say anything like that.
Right? Yeah, I'd be bad on these. I would be kicked out of the meeting. I would.
Yeah.
It's not good.
I would be the one sending gifs of like us like blowing shit up and
exactly.
Listen, if there is one lesson that can be taken from this, it is to use the Signal app to communicate.
That's what they're using
with your friends and your family, because if it's good enough for the government to talk about this kind of shit, and it's actually interesting because, I mean, not to derail the topic or anything, but in the Karen Reed case with Turtle Boy, they're trying to get all of their communications. They have both of their phones, but they talked on Signal. And so
do you know how that works?
Yeah, it's just an app. Anybody who has the app,
like you WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's just like WhatsApp, but everything's encrypted. And if they get your phone, if something happens, they're not reading any of those text messages. They come back completely unreadable. So, I mean,
but then how would you read them? Like if you're sitting there in at a police station and they get to grab your phone and look at your messages, and you and I were texting, and I was just sending you dick pic after dick pic.
I'm pretty sure they auto delete.
Signal. They auto delete.
They auto delete after a certain amount of hours.
Okay, so that's the part. Like I go back a lot.
Yeah.
Like I know Amy sent me that story.
Yeah.
I do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I've always been like, I don't want WhatsApp.
I mean, if you're not communicating about anything that's untoward that you wouldn't care if people read, it doesn't really matter. But I mean, if you're a journalist talking to a source, or if you're, doing something kind of crazy, then, where you wouldn't want the government to be able to read your messages. The fact that the government uses Signal just tells you that you should probably use it too.
Yeah, no, it certainly makes a case for that. And I suppose this is smart if you're fucking around, if you're cheating, if you're, that kind of stuff. It's like
it's even that, or it really is like I mean, that is one side of it. Obviously, it's not going to be their messages and that sort of thing. But when you see how the government can be weaponized, and if they have any probable cause whatsoever for anything, they come in and they say, "Give me your phone." They're reading all that shit. So
100%. So I wonder if it's something that I know, like the like January 6th, was it AT&T who was like, here's everything, take everything anyone's phone had.
Exactly.
In that case, if you were using Signal, which a lot of those guys probably were,
right, they're not going to be able to read them.
Right. I'm a little weary of this story in general. They're coming out in defense of Mike Walls. And I don't know. So I was reading this story about how the hunt is on for a White House aide being blamed for putting the Atlantic's editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg, on this group chat along with key administration officials. Trump pointed fingers at an unnamed aide and not on national security advisor, Michael Waltz, who appeared like in the beginning, like he's going to be the fall guy.
Yeah.
We got to cut that dude loose.
Yeah.
So Michael Waltz, as we stated a moment ago, had added him on the Signal chat, which also included these key officials, blah, blah, blah. It was one of Michael's people on the phone. A staffer had his number on there, Trump told NBC. Speculation is now swirling about who that staffer is. Michael Waltz has learned a valuable lesson. He's a good man. Trump's decision to stand by Waltz comes after Politico reported that he was the likeliest official to be fired over this. Everyone in the White House can agree on one thing. Mike Waltz is a fucking idiot, said one source, identified as someone close to the White House. 2 high-level White House aides floated the idea that Waltz should resign to prevent Trump from having to be in a bad position. It was reckless not to check who was on the thread. It was reckless to be having that conversation on Signal. You can't have recklessness as national security advisor. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
That doesn't look good at all.
So what? Like he was just said to one of his staffers, hey, start a group chat with A, B, and C. And this person just mistakenly added, because JG, isn't that the initials of somebody else that was supposed to be on that thread? And so they added this Jeffrey whatever in error.
Goldberg. Yeah. And I think we've all done that. I text the wrong person in your...
Oh man, have I done that?
Yeah, in your phone.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah. I remember texting Amanda Vogt once. And she was just like, what the fuck? And I was trying to text Amanda the warden. And I was just like, send.
Yeah.
And she's like,
but I mean, were you talking shit about Amanda Vogt?
No, okay. Nothing like that. And no, I wasn't sending.
Let me tell you about what I did in college. I still feel so bad about this to this day. We were at a recruitment event for sorority, and there was this girl in our sorority who, ironically, given the way this episode started, had gained weight. And I was an asshole back then. I was in college. Okay. So I went to text one of my friends, so-and-so has gained a lot of weight. But my mind typed in the so-and-so's name to the to line. And so I sent it to her saying, so-and-so has gained a lot of weight. And I just, as soon as I sent it, and I just watched her pick up her phone, and I was just like, oh God.
That's
brutal.
I
felt so bad.
Yeah, I bet there's plenty of people out there that have horror stories too. One of my favorites, I remember on the Opie and Anthony show, like there was tension in that room, which is common in those rooms when you're stuck working together all the time. Like shit happens, but Opie is kind of a cunt. He just is. And Jim Norton, the comic, and Anthony Cumia, we're stuck dealing with a cunt. And there's a lot of womanly kind of behaviors from Opie, kind of bitch-like in a lot of respects. And one of those like silent treatment stuff, won't make eye contact. And they were in the studio, and it was one of those days. And Anthony tells a story about how he's sitting there and Opie's looking around the room. And when he would get to Anthony, he would just look above and around him. Like he wouldn't even look at him. And so Anthony texts Jim Norton, who's sitting like in a triangle formation, the three of them live on the air, and texts Jimmy, the cunt won't even look at me, and hit send. And as soon as he hits send, he realizes I sent it to the cunt.
Oh no.
And then he just hears on the desk and has to watch as Opie picks up his phone and just immediately looks at him like, oh, we've all been there, man.
Oh man, it's brutal.
Brutal. This one, so intelligence officials strongly pushed back on Tuesday claims of classified materials being leaked. Tulsi Gabbard went out today and was like, there were no classified information that came out on this, blah, blah, blah. Carolyn Levitt slammed Goldberg's sensationalist spin. No war plans were discussed. No classified material was sent to the thread. The White House counsel's office has provided guidance on a number of different platforms for President Trump's top officials to communicate safely and efficiently as possible. As the National Security Council stated, the White House is looking into how Goldberg's number was inadvertently added to the thread. Thanks to strong and decisive leadership and everyone in the group, the strikes on the Houthis were successful and effective. Terrorists were killed, and that's what matters most to Trump. Couple things. First off, I did not know Caroline Leavitt, 27-year-old Caroline Leavitt.
Wow, she's 27?
27. You know how old her fucking husband is?
He's older.
59.
Oh,
hell yeah. I was like, what? That pretty hot 27-year-old is banging a 60-year-old dude? Just had a kid with him.
That's wild.
Had a kid or is just having a kid. Is that acceptable? Like, you see that, I guess, older guys with, like, she's a pretty powerful broad right now.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, but yeah, I didn't know that. The other thing with this is, one of the things that Trump has been trying to avoid with this administration is all the leaks that came out in the first administration. Like, he famously, during Biden's administration, he wasn't taking meetings that he was entitled to, classified meetings, that he was entitled to information. He didn't want to know certain things for fear that he was being set up and shit was being leaked, like it came from him and stuff like that. Like, there were stories like that coming out. So if I'm picking up what they're setting down here, it sounds like maybe these guys are busy, they're working, and someone's like, yeah, I've set up the group text for you with all the key players. We're using Signal, which, by the way, was used by other administrations. I know people are going to point to, they're going to say, oh, Hillary's emails, that kind of thing. But it is what it is. That's what they're using nowadays. So is it possible that someone did that? It seems like, of all the journalists to get this sort of tip, if you will, inside information on something, it seems odd that of all the journalists out there, this is the one that would be on that thread. And maybe that's a stretch. Maybe I'm reaching here,
but just an innocent mishap of JG and JG. I guess I would just want to make sure that he's not, like, ordinarily leaking information to this JG guy, to Jeffrey, whatever. That would be my concern. Like, why do you even have him on Signal? I guess would be my question.
Right. And
because I don't know. But then again, if you go on Signal, I downloaded it I don't really have many friends on it, so I don't use it, but I downloaded it just to see what it was about. And I mean, if anybody,
I don't know if I have it.
If anybody in your contact list has Signal, they're showing up on your Signal app. So it's not like you have to, like, proactively add them. So I guess if, this reporter, has Signal and he's in this dude's phone as JG, it could just be a very simple, you just pick the wrong JG. I mean, we've all fucking done it, but.
Yeah. I don't know. You think of these guys operating on a higher level, all of them.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You just do. It's funny to see, like, now they're using fist bump emojis and fire emojis.
Yep.
I think they're no different.
Yep.
All of them. So anyways, and here's one thing for sure. If there was actual classified information, if there was something damning, you'd know it. Because the reporter you're talking about is the guy that can't wait to hear any salacious rumor about Trump and just blast it on the front page of the Atlantic. That's what he's known for.
Right.
So anyway, but not good. Not good.
Mike, did you see, I don't know if you have it in your stories, but have you seen the massive sinkhole in Seoul, South Korea?
No.
Do you want to see it?
Yeah, more than anything.
Okay, so this motorcyclist was missing and they found him dead after he falls into this massive sinkhole. Okay, so I'm going to share this. Hold, please. All right, ready?
Oh, excellent. So we do have video today. Ron. Hold on.
Oh, you missed it, Mike. Hang on,
Sorry.
I'll rewind it. That's okay.
Yeah, rewind it. Sorry, I had to write 2 angry emoji faces to Ron. I'm sorry. It was pressing.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm thinking ahead of stories I have coming up, and it's like,
yeah. Well, just tell me what they are. I'll find the videos. I'll pull them up. Okay, ready?
Get on Jasmine Crockett next.
All right, I got the one where she makes fun of the Texas governor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, go ahead. Just out for a stroll. See you later,
dude.
Yeah.
They found him 18 hours later.
What took 18 hours? I can see the hole right there. Like, there's so many witnesses. They know exactly where he is.
I know. Like, look at
oh shit.
Oh boy. That's why it took that long, Mike.
Would you stop or would you try? Would you try to squeeze through?
Mike, look, and there's water coming out.
Oh yeah, of course. There's a water line under the road,
dude.
Wow. So how far of a drop was that? Do you know?
I don't know. That is just crazy.
So did he have a chance
20
to move?
meters deep. What is that?
3 miles? I think 20 meters is 3 miles. I don't know.
To feet. 65 feet.
Oh shit. Yeah. That's, I just want, I'm, as you know, I'm balls deep into Lost right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Locke just fell down the well, snapped his leg.
Yeah.
And the bone sticking out. They showed some pretty graphic stuff in that show.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. That was I'm guessing, similar.
Yeah.
65-foot drop, 20 meters.
But they said he died of cardiac arrest. Not of like...
my heart would jump out of its chest too.
I know.
Let me see the video one more time. Let's see if his reaction time, like if he had time, because my first glance at that video, I feel like he had time to lock him up or swerve, and he just kind of froze in panic mode and just drove right on into the hole.
Yeah, I mean, if you see like the car makes it.
Barely.
Oh, oof.
Yeah, no, he didn't have a ton of time.
I mean, this guy, it's like, I'm just driving along and my life ends now.
Well, more like now.
No. Or maybe when he sees all the shit that's about to fall on him.
Look at the rubberneckers.
Now.
Look at that motorcyclist. Oh, he missed dying by 1 second.
Oh.
That motorcycler that came by and squeaked by, missed it by 1 second. Look at this guy coming. That road is buckling. Here he comes. Don't worry about me.
Oh my God. That's like a video game.
Yeah. Wow. It reminds me of the bridge collapse in the 89 World Series in San Francisco.
Oh.
When they had the quake during the World Series.
Uh-huh.
And the top bridge fell onto the lower bridge. It just collapsed.
Yeah. That's so scary.
Dude, what is a sinkhole? I know it's a geological thing. They happen in Florida quite frequently, I feel like.
This just seems like a good opportunity to use the word tectonic shift. So that's what I'm assuming it is.
That's tectonic shift is the plates under the water, right? That shift, and that's when you get earthquakes.
Yeah. I mean, that's the best explanation I have.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we sound really ignorant when it comes to
I don't think so.
Defining tectonic shifting and whatnot. The plates shifting.
Very
I don't know what that is. It seems like, I don't know. Why the ground underneath the cement just goes, I'm out of here, and then leaves.
Right.
Like, where did it go? But maybe the water pipe burst and it was just filling water down in there and made it mud, and then it just went away.
Oh, and
but then the road just gave out.
Exact time. Oh my
goodness. Yeah. It's crazy. Hold on, let's see what Aaron says to defend himself.
Yeah, let's see how he's defending himself.
He claims he's looking at him right now.
I kind of hope you're the one that's wrong, Mike. But
I'm going to take a picture of this and show him what I'm looking at.
Yeah, these are all the ones from yesterday.
Yeah. See?
You done messed up, Aaron.
You done messed up, Aaron.
Well,
should I tell him to get in here and defend himself?
Yes, we want to hear.
Get in here and defend yourself. This is riveting.
Well, I have the Jasmine Crockett clip.
Okay, good. Jasmine Crockett, House Democrat from Texas.
Yes.
Drew criticism after she nicknamed. Yeah, she's a real piece of work, that one. So she nicknamed wheelchair-bound Texas Governor Greg Abbott Governor Hot Wheels.
Dude. See, so this is when they try to be like Trump, and it doesn't work. It backfires.
I know. So let's hear her out. Let's listen to her.
All right. Let's see. It's coming, I think. Gross.
Hot Wheels down there. Come on.
Nope.
Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess.
Hot ass mess.
Okay, so
hot ass mess. Governor Hot
Not the
Wheels.
greatest video, but Governor
elected
Hot
officials
Wheels.
for her comments.
He is in a wheelchair. Had he been a listener of the Detroit cast back in the day, he probably would not be in a wheelchair. I don't know if you know that, but he was tragically. Yes, dude. He did not listen, look up, and step to the side. Yes.
No,
that's why he's in a wheelchair. Yeah, an Oak got him. Probably targeted. He was out jogging, 26 years old back in 1984. That's why he's in a wheelchair.
I mean, that the odds of that happening are just like a sinkhole happening when you're riding your motorcycle down the street.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I don't jog. It's too dangerous.
Exactly.
It's too dangerous.
Exactly.
I don't need it. I don't need it in my life.
Relegated to a life in a wheelchair, and someone's calling you Governor Hot Wheels. You don't want that.
Sorry. Aaron can't jump on and defend himself right now.
Mm-hmm.
He wants us to like reset it. I'm like, yeah, well, we're fucking live. I can't just reset everything. You done fucked up, Aaron.
Yep.
This is my fault. Usually, breaking the fourth wall, usually I will send videos either to Garrett or Aaron, and then at some point, it's like, hey, are those in there? Are we good? And then usually I check. Even if they go, yeah, they're loaded. He usually sends me a text and like, you're good. Videos are in there waiting for you guys. So I've asked him what I need, and then they're just sitting here for us. And if we get to them, we get to them. I did none of that today.
Seems like everybody dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Except me.
Yeah, exactly. So back to Jasmine Crockett. Yes. She made that comment during a speech at a human rights campaign dinner in LA. So some of the comments, this woman is trash, Charlie Kirk said. She does know the Texas governor is paralyzed, right? She making fun of the paralyzed person? This is horrible. She's openly mocking a governor who uses a wheelchair. Sickening. Jasmine Crockett is as low class as they come. Disgusting. This statement, the phrasing, the awful faked accent, just revolting. These people are so gross and hypocritical, blah, blah, blah. Look, if Congresswoman Crackhead wants to call people names, go ahead. Like, honestly, she can do that.
Yeah, go ahead, but just don't act all upset when Trump does it. Like, that's my issue. Like, they act all, holier than thou when that thing. And
I think he was doing.
Jasmine Crockett even mentions that in her statement.
Does she? She might.
Yeah,
they all point to it. This guy who Trump, some reporter, mocking the innocent, da 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 da. Here's what we know about Trump, and when he does that, he is what's known as a counterpuncher. So when this guy was writing hit pieces about Trump unfairly, Trump did that. Smart? Probably not. Petty? For sure.
Right.
Was this making fun of that fucking guy? Yeah. But it doesn't come out of nowhere. Context sort of matters. Should the office be above that? Sure. But it's sort of what he does. Little Marco, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
He does that. And you brought up the point, which I think is key to all of this. What is Jasmine Crockett doing when she does that? They're desperate to find who's going to be our Trump. Who's the fighter that's not afraid, that's going to get in the ring and say what's going on. They're desperately trying to find that person. I would warn against that, honestly.
Because you don't want it to come off as forced. Like Trump, it just comes naturally. That's just who he is.
And I swear to God, we would be in a much better place. I'll say it this way. People that think they hate that man would be much better served to just as a baseline, like, okay, this is how some people are. Some people stutter. Some people's delivery is this. Some people's delivery is that. It's just kind of his delivery. So when you take a 15-second clip and take all the words and they don't make that much sense, and you go, look what this retard said. Your guess is as good as mine. Like, no. But in the context of a speech, you understand what he's trying to say, what he means. Doesn't say it as eloquently as Barack Obama certainly could say stuff, or Bill Clinton could say stuff, but that's just not who the guy is. So you keep going to this well over and over and over to point out what an idiot, what an asshole, how demeaning he is. It works for him. It is what it is. Like, come up with something else. Marco Rubio tried this. Oh, I'm going to get tough. I'm going to be the tough guy in the ring. And so what they've decided is we're going to drop F-bombs on open mics, man. We don't give a shit. We're done with this hot ass mess. Like, ugh. It's gross. It's not, because it's what I keep talking about. We keep talking about authenticity. You don't have to like him, but he's authentic to who he is. I don't like his delivery. I'm right there with you.
Right.
I can't watch his speeches. I pay way more attention to his actions than his words. I just do. Because I watch 5 minutes of it, and I know just as well as most people watching, especially those that hate him, what he says and takes him an hour and a half can be done in 5 minutes. Like that's just the way but I made peace with that a long time ago, and it's like, okay, like that's who he is. But if you listen to the message, it's been consistent since the 80s. It hasn't changed. We used to make fun of it on the Drew and Mike show all the fucking time. All the time in the late 90s.
And it's always been cringy.
Always.
Like, even back in the Apprentice days, it was fucking cringy. Do you want to hear Jasmine Crockett's statement, or do you have it there?
What's her statement? The whole thing? Or...
No, like after this, she's commenting on the outrage.
Yeah, go ahead. I have not heard it.
Okay.
But this is what she loves.
She wasn't thinking about the governor's condition, but about the planes, trains, and automobiles he used to transfer migrants into communities led by Black mayors, deliberately stoking tension and fear amongst the most vulnerable. At no point did I mention or allude to his condition, so I'm even more appalled that the very people who unequivocally support Trump, a man known for racially insensitive nicknames and mocking those with disabilities, are now outraged. So
I'd rather she just own it if you're going to be that. Like, she's really trying hard, like, to get into the TikTok game. Like, how do you stand up in a world full of nerds in that place? Like, but I'll tell you this. If you think, like the hoe in chief is going to be Jasmine Crockett, if you think that's your best move, like, I got news for you. That is not going to work. Like, if you're trying to find the next person, go find someone authentic. Jasmine herself, and Tim Walz is doing this, old jazz hands himself. He's playing this game of, I'm a man's man, like, That's not sellable either. I worry about Shapiro is he in Pennsylvania? That guy, you hear him talk. He scares me more than any of those others. Like Tim Walsh, you got to just cut ties with that guy. That's not sellable to the American public. Jasmine Crockett isn't going to be one. Yeah, she's your fight. Get the fuck out of here. It's clown show. It's clown show. She wants to come off like some ghetto fucking hood rat, black chick. Like Jasmine comes from a stable household with a mommy and a daddy. She went to an expensive school. She went to a law school in Houston. So
she she sounds much different these days.
Does she?
Much different. There's interviews from her when she was in, like the state Senate, and she sounds much more polished.
Yeah,
I'll just say.
So which one was fake? Which one was real?
Right.
Yeah, it's sad to see, but if you're trying to step out above, like she literally came out of nowhere. Like I don't know who the hell she was.
Right.
It's like if you're trying to like go and be the next AOC, Tim Walz ain't going to work. I guess she's got his shot at any. You're not going to sell that in mass to the American public though. And she knows exactly what she's saying with Hot Wheels. She knows exactly what she's
She knows exactly what she's saying.
Don't run from it now.
Yeah.
And I don't ever care there. Yeah. I don't really care that much. If I'll call him Governor Hot Wheels from now on. That's kind of funny, actually. Like whatever. He's a public figure. He can take it. He's a big boy.
Right.
For
sure. But like now to try to make it seem like you were talking about the planes, trains, and automobiles he used to transfer immigrants around the country. No, he put them on planes, and you don't call planes Hot Wheels. Okay. You
or
just
trains.
Don't. So just shut the fuck up and own it. Because that's what makes you inauthentic. Like people know that when Trump says it, he's going to own it. He's going to double down, and he's going to call you that from now on.
Yeah.
He probably calls Marco Rubio Little Marco when he sees him around
in
the
meetings.
White House,
he probably does.
Yeah, I bet he brings it up in meetings. Remember when I called you Little Marco?
Hilarious.
Like I 100% brings
Remember
it
when
up.
Little Marco thought he was tough and he was going to go toe to toe with me? Hilarious. Even Pocahontas laughed at it.
But like when Jasmine Crockett comes out and she makes up this bullshit like no, just own it.
Mm-hmm. Just own it. We've got a distraught disabled woman. Aaron really fucked up, and we don't have our videos, so I apologize. I wonder if any of these were. Oh, yeah. Should we watch? Why don't we watch Tim Walz? This is about Tesla. This is from yesterday. We didn't get to it. Another woman got her shit all keyed up. Another Tesla. And I didn't get to these yesterday.
What can we possibly do about Elon Musk?
But I think it's fun.
Because
Tim Walz
it's
trying to
not
be tough.
right.
It is not right. And this guy bugs me in a way that is probably unhealthy. And but I have to be careful about being a smartass. I was making a joke. These people have no sense of humor. They are the most literal people. But my point was they're all mad, and I said something I didn't probably shouldn't have about a company. He is agreed. So I make the case. They're all butthurt about the Tesla thing, but they don't care the disrespect they have shown to employees at the Minneapolis VA who care for our veterans, and they fire them. They don't care. So we will have the conversation about efficiency in government and about doing that. But none of us believe for a second they're thinking about this. Oh, we fired everybody that's dealing with Ebola. And then he went into the Oval Office wearing a hat. I don't ever want to hear anybody talk about decorum and respect or that. Wearing a hat, coming in there, richest man in the world. Again, this baby's just me. If I'm the richest man in the world, I'm like out on the streets.
His attempt to backtrack and apologize. Because people in Minnesota who have hundreds of millions of dollars in their 401ks tied to Tesla stock were like, they're all butt hurt. Yeah, they're all butthurt that you joked about how awesome it is that domestic terrorists are destroying an American company all in a tantrum because you lost an election. That's what, yeah, I'd be pissed too if I was in Minnesota.
And like, why does he bother you so much, Tim Walz? That's weird that he bothers you so much. That you have so much hatred for this guy. It doesn't make any sense. And yeah, I think he did have to backtrack because I'm almost positive that I heard that the government, where he presumably has, his retirement benefits, are also wrapped up in Tesla. Yeah. I mean, you don't realize it, but like these retirement, they have your shit invested in a fund, and that fund most likely is invested in Tesla because Tesla is a good investment.
Yeah.
So, he probably realized very quickly, oh shit, I'm rooting for my own demise. That's silly to me.
And your constituents,
Yeah. Well, he doesn't give a fuck about them. But
Tim Walz,
he does care about his
is
own
a politician
pocketbook.
hoping that he'll magically, for some strange reason, earn 160 grand a year as a politician and somehow in 5 years be worth 50 million. So he probably doesn't give a shit about his particular Tesla stock or 401k, whatever.
Right.
It doesn't matter because what do you know? Right. They're all worth millions and millions of dollars on paltry salaries. So, this is the threat, coming in and cleaning some of that shit up. We'll see. But there's a woman who had her car keyed up down both sides, Abigail Gill, dining at an Olive Garden in Wichita, Kansas with her family, when they noticed her brand new red Tesla had deep scratches running the length of the vehicle. She's wheelchair bound, of course.
No.
And
Hot Wheels.
Yeah, Miss Hot Wheels, Abigail. She believes her vehicle was targeted due to the brand belonging to Elon Musk. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty fair bet there, Abigail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going out on a limb here. The vandal dressed in Lilo, is it Lilo and Stitch or Lilo and Stitch?
I think it's
Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch.
Pajama pants, big fat ass in pajama pants. I cannot get over how fucking dumb these people are. Like how dumb you have to be to like look around. Like, no, you're not worried about the people in the parking lot seeing you. It's the high def cameras that as soon as you get near that car, turn on and go, what's going on out there? What are you doing next to my car?
How have these dumb fucks not figured that out yet?
Well, I think these people have seen example after example after example of people being absolute menaces in their community with no problem. The guy in San Jose, California, remember wearing the jacket? The guy was filming him. That guy has seen locally in that Bay Area, people get away with murder. Why would you think, keyed a car of a political rival, what I deem to be an enemy?
Well, it's on video.
Yeah, but even when they're on video, nothing happens to these people.
It's crazy, though.
Those days are over. That's what they're going to learn. So this dipshit in pajama pants caused up to 10 grand in damage to this car. It felt really disappointed this is happening in such a great country and state for this to be happening in Kansas. Shocking. The criminal was seen initially walking by her car, and then 45 minutes later, he exited the restaurant, was caught on the car's cameras driving a key into the paint along the driver's side. And then he did the same thing on the passenger side door as he left with a bag of leftovers and a red backpack with Lilo and Stitch stuffed keychains on it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. He's on a list somewhere. So if he's not, he probably should
Wichita police are now looking for him, and they will find him.
Yeah.
Since the attack, Gill and her family have been discussing if it's safe to drive their Teslas and leave them in public parking spots. There is the point, ma'am. That's the point. Okay. That's why these people are terrorizing you domestically, so that you have those conversations in your home about whether or not it's even safe to go out and drive your car in public. That is the whole point. You almost call them domestic terrorists in a sense. instilling
Right.
fear in you. That's a natural response you have there. Hot Wheels is to
Yeah.
that feeling. She does need her Tesla, by the way. It's very easy for me to drive because of my disability. You have put a very big crisis on me because I'm in a wheelchair. It's going to take some time before I'm able to drive and move in a vehicle. I know that you've heard stuff like 5 to 10 year sentences for stuff like this if it's deemed domestic terrorism, which honestly I don't have a problem with. I don't. I said the same thing during the BLM riots. I'm very consistent with this.
Yeah.
I said the exact same behavior I had during the Michael Brown riots in Ferguson, Missouri. I felt the same way then. And the fact is, you should have ended this childish behavior, which is just a party in the streets for a lot of these people. Okay? Just go ham.
Yep.
Young person.
Yeah, to loot,
to destroy stuff that's not yours. You didn't build. You have no ownership over. Just throw bricks through it, light it on fire, have fun, no consequences for any of that. They're just blowing off some steam. Hey, it's a summer of love. Fuck you.
Yeah.
This stuff.
Yeah, they need that TV, Mike. They need that TV. It's reparations.
Right. 20 pairs of Nikes ought to do it. No, and it's funny. I remember being in Santa Monica, and Santa Monica got torched up and down, and it was hilarious. Like I was with Raj and Newberg, and I don't remember where we were going to eat or something. And it was like you get to the main strip in Santa Monica, and all the stores are busted out except the bookstore. And you're like, oh yeah, they just, they weren't sending a message. It was like, no, they didn't want any free shit from the bookstore.
Yeah.
So you could see every fucking storefront they bashed out. Of course, the jewelry store, of course, the CVS, looted all the shelves, and then bookstore might learn a little something. Nah, that one's untouched. They didn't even bother boarding those windows up. They're like, none of these motherfuckers are knocking our windows out. They knew it.
Right.
Hilarious.
Right. We've seen the test scores.
Yeah. So this idea that you're acting this way over social justice issues, bullshit. First off, get control of yourself. You don't get to destroy stuff that doesn't belong to you in your own neighborhood usually, because you're angry about something. It's not the way things go. I'm sorry. And so for these people, I think 5 years is excessive. 20 years is excessive. I don't think someone needs to be brought up on federal charges and thrown in prison for 5 years. But I think you could send the message with 2-week jail sentences. I spent one night in a jail in 1996, and it fucking sucked. Every minute of it sucked. Every minute.
Mike, but you're normal. These people are so fucking broken. They will be like 2 weeks, free room and board. Sign
all
me
right,
up.
2 months.
I'm good.
Like you can. I think you can send a message without, because I don't want to be like, oh, it's people that disagree with me politically. Throw them in to never be heard from again. Like, no, I don't feel like that. I don't feel that way. This idea of Trump is such a threat to the nation. He's facing 500 years in prison for, like, fuck off. No, that's not what we do. But I feel like you could have stopped this kind of behavior by sending the message. You didn't need billions of dollars in destruction around the country. You don't need tens of millions, God knows how many millions of dollars in damage to these Teslas. And these people are not going to be fucking around. These articles are all ending the same way. Police are on the hunt for this gentleman right now. When you unleash the power of the police to actually do their jobs, a man suspected of keying that Tesla in the San Jose Costco parking lot, the shameful dipshit with his stupid wife, I'm going to key the car. Yeah, they got him. He was arrested on March 20th. So a few days ago, they got him. And the police chief there in San Jose emphasized the seriousness of the offense, stating that personal beliefs or frustrations do not justify illegal actions. And these things going viral, I'm here for it. Yeah. I strongly believe there's not a position politically that someone could take that would make me take to the streets to do damage to someone's property. Honestly, I mean that.
It makes no sense. It makes, I can't even fathom doing that. These people are so freaking broken. And I would just say, whatever the normal sentence would be for, whatever crime that they committed. But I think it also, if this is just a one-off, if this person is just crazy and, they just saw a Tesla and decided to key it. But I mean, I think you have to do an investigation. And if they are part of some larger group of people that is talking on the internet about, this coordinated plan to intimidate Tesla owners, well, then, yeah, that is domestic terrorism. I mean, I don't love the idea of like anybody who keys a Tesla is a domestic terrorist. Don't love that. But I think you should be investigated. And are you just a one-off or are you part of something larger? And if you're part of something larger, then charges will come.
I think you have both things going on. I think when you're talking about torching some of those earlier videos where you were torching 10 charging stations, right? Or AR-15 gunfire into the front of a Tesla building, the swastika painting seemed coordinated. These little, I'm in a parking lot wearing toddlers' fucking cartoon sweatpants, keying a car, is joining in the fun, thinking, yeah, we're all doing this.
For sure.
They're in their echo chamber thinking this is what everyone's doing.
Yeah, just some fat fuck who finally left his basement for 5 minutes to go get ice cream and ran into a fucking Tesla.
Went and pigged out at Olive Garden on the way out. It had enough.
Yeah. 100%.
So I think the message could be sent with a month in jail for that guy.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, that's an interesting point because I bet you could, with some digging, find out that there's some funding. I'd love to know. If you had political groups, NGOs of some sort, for lack of a better word, I don't know what they would be, but some funded, George Soros funded, whenever you see a pack of people pop up out of nowhere, all wearing the same shirts, their signs all in the same font. It's almost like they showed up somewhere and were paid,
like, what are all those, when they always show those white dudes in khakis and like blue shirts and they've got something over their face and they're the conservative, what is it? The something front, Patriot Front or something like that.
Yeah. They disbanded, by the way.
I gotta tell
Did you know that? The day after Trump was inaugurated. So Patriot Front is supposed to be was that supposed to be a right-wing thing? It was billed as.
Yeah.
And it was like.
Yeah, it was basically the new KKK.
Yeah, and everyone went, feds. Like, hold 100%.
On. So they disbanded that Fed operation the day after Trump was inaugurated.
Gotcha. They were disbanded. I think it was the day after the inauguration. It was like, well, see you later. Everyone looked at them and went, they're way too fit. And they wouldn't all be wearing the same clothes. Like everybody knew something was off with them.
Right. And people are generally don't mind supporting Donald Trump and showing their face and doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Like you don't look at his rallies and see a bunch of people dressed the same with fucking masks on.
No.
And like I have a pretty big conservative following on and I know that people follow me and have messaged me on my Twitter that were part of January 6th and part of the Proud Boys or whatever. Never have I ran into anybody on X who was like, I'm part of the Patriot Front.
Yeah.
Like it's just not a thing.
Yeah. Doesn't surprise me. Yeah. The thing that did kind of surprise me, and maybe it speaks to a larger issue, is the support for Luigi Mangione. I'm sorry. He is not hot. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. He's not hot. I would have no problem.
No.
I am very comfortable in my sexuality. If he was truly hot, I'd go, yeah, I got to give it to him. Son of a bitch is hot. He's beautiful. I don't see it. What am I missing?
I guess on the scale of criminals,
yeah,
maybe, he's not, wearing Lilo and Stitch pajama pants.
Big fat slob leaving the Olive Garden. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Or he's not, he doesn't have his whole face tatted up. Like he's just he looks like a normal frat dude in college.
Yeah, 26-year-old kid.
Probably the same reason people are obsessed with the Menendez brothers and Scott Peterson and all of the relatively normal looking dudes. Like, no, he's not hot if you're just walking down the street and you see Luigi Mangione.
No.
You're not like, that is a good looking
Yeah,
dude.
they did right by him by posting the picture. And there's a lot of them that are his age now, shirtless with the six pack.
Yeah. That helped him out
sure.
a lot. That helped him. It gives him a few more points sure.
Yeah. So lawyers representing Luigi Mangione have claimed Mayor Eric Adams there in New York City is prejudicing the accused assassin's right to a fair trial in a move that could foreshadow calls for a mistrial. Lawyer Karen, I'm going to fuck this up. I apologize, Karen. Agnifilo took aim at the mayor after a series of publicity stunts around the murder of Brian Thompson, the United Healthcare CEO. Comes as a 26-year-old's legal defense fund has surpassed 22,000 individual donations, raising more than $750,000. As the case received national attention, fueled in part by Mr. Adams' photo op during Mangione's extradition to New York, an appearance in an HBO documentary. I feel like the perp walk, I don't know how that would prejudice a case. Like perp walks happen all the time.
I mean, that was pretty well publicized, that
perp
walk.
But aren't they?
And it was like straight out of fucking Batman or something.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy how they all showed up on like the tarmac, and even Mayor Adams was there, and they were perp walking this guy, and it was bizarre, kind of. And it was on the front page of the New York Times and the New York Post, and presumably prejudices a jury, but
I mean, I remember Aaron Hernandez in his white T-shirt, handcuffed, being perp walked out of his like.
Oh yeah,
Mayor Adams. I believe it. You're kind of an embattled mayor in a city, and you're just getting rained on from people. Like the crime is out of this fucking world in this city. The cops have turned on you. The people, your constituency has turned on you. He wants to go there. It's like, I'm going to look this man in the face and say, he said something like that, like, not in my city. And it's like, okay, you're looking for the photo op, but I don't know. Sure. It seems like a stretch.
But, I mean, there's so many, it's not going to work. I mean, there's so many people that don't read the news, that don't watch the news. They just go about their life, and they don't, so you weed all that out. And, when you're trying to pick a jury, and just because they perp walked you and it was on the front page news doesn't mean
acted like a psycho when
you're
they
gonna get your case thrown out. Like you're on video shooting this dude in cold blood to death. So, forgive me if I don't shed a tear that they searched your backpack and like rearranged the stuff that was in your backpack. I think that's one of his bitches is like, oh, they put everything into a backpack and it was like, well, did you want him to leave all of his shit just strewn about the McDonald's? Like, I don't know. It was just, it's just ticky tacky shit because they know he's busted.
All public statements have come from law enforcement and the mayor of the city, who have been leaking sensitive information and appearing in interviews on TV, newspapers, and magazines, all prejudicing Mr. Mangione's right to a fair trial. Oh, do Derek Chauvin next, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the concern.
Exactly.
Like, are you kidding me?
I know.
Stop.
Right.
Karen, the lawyer, had previously spoken in court about Adams and other NYPD officers appearing on an HBO documentary titled "Who is Luigi Mangione?" An appearance last month, which was hounded by fans of Mangione. Can you think of a grosser sentence than that? She spoke of her shock the top brass in the city had time to sit down with HBO over the case. Adams also pictured alongside government officials when Mangione was brought in. Mangione was led by from a helicopter by personnel, which included Adams and Jessica Tisch, the NYPD commissioner. So his quote was, he wanted to be there to look him in the eye and say, "You carried out this terroristic act in my city." Karen has argued that Mangione should be given a laptop for jail legal purposes only. The laptop would be...
He just wants to look at all the nude pics he's getting
probably
sent.
And I'm thinking he wants to FaceTime or not FaceTime, but Facebook Live everybody, and they're like, it can be configured to only let him dig through vast amounts of documents in the disclosure in his case, totaling over 15,000 items. We don't even have time to go through it with them all. Why are there 15,000 disclosure items? Prosecutors are attempting to shoot down the laptop request, claiming that some of the witnesses in the case have been threatened. Yeah, that's totally believable. You know why? Because people like Jimmy Kimmel and Bill Burr have gone on national TV anytime someone will put a camera in front of them and screamed "Free Luigi" on platforms. Right. That has led to everybody thinking that he's glorifying murder. That's what you're seeing.
Right.
Which is why you have tens of thousands of fans making donations. Right. She added, there's no connection to Mr. Mangione for any of said alleged threats. It remains unclear who has been making these supposed threats. Due to the volume of files, there's not enough visiting hours, blah, blah, blah. She also argued that authorities had leaked writings they say belong to Mangione, labeling them as his manifesto. The use of language has led to fear spreading in an effort to justify the prosecution's use of a terrorism charge. She said there's absolutely no evidence to suggest Mangione wrote the so-called manifesto. When he was arrested in a Pennsylvania McDonald's, he had a notebook describing his intent to, quote, whack an insurance CEO. By releasing these writings to the public and calling them a manifesto, law enforcement is responsible for causing the very public alarm they are now trying to attribute to Mr. Mangione, which is the basis for charging him with the enhanced charge of murder in the first degree as an act of terrorism. Remember, New York City, you cannot stick someone with a first-degree murder charge. And people were like, what? They reserve that for terrorism charges, and they also reserve first-degree murder charges for murder of a cop, law enforcement official.
Yep.
That's just the way they do things in New York City. There is absolutely no evidence that Mr. Mangione ever released the writings that law enforcement is attributing him publicly. Any publishing was done by law enforcement. So what she's talking about is the technical definition of a manifesto. She's trying to be a stickler on that. So that is a written statement declaring publicly the intentions, motives, or views of its issuer. So she's like, the cops released it, not Mangione. So that's technically not a manifesto. He's pled not guilty, blah, blah, blah.
Well, she wanted to call it his diary.
Yeah, right. So she's getting technical, but that's how his lawyers are getting there. That this was nowhere near a manifesto. It wasn't released publicly. Well, his manifesto, okay, if you will, it was a handwritten document found on him at the time of his arrest. It's a 262-word statement that expresses his grievances with the American healthcare system, particularly targeting United Healthcare, and provides insight into his motivations for killing its CEO, Brian Thompson, allegedly. The full text was published, and I think this is key. I think this will come in when you're talking about the cops released this. It was actually published originally by independent journalist Ken Klippenstein on December 10th, 2024, and confirmed as legitimate by law enforcement. So law enforcement...
How'd Clip get it?
I don't know how Clip got it. I know, again, not to bring up Steven Crowder, but his team got the tranny manifesto at that shooting. However, those sources were able to get that out of that police department, with whistleblowers. I think it was a whistleblower that did. So I don't know how they did it. I don't know how Ken Klippenstein got it. Mangione addresses the feds, asserting that he acted alone. The act required only elementary school engineering, basic CAD. Remember, that wasn't a metal gun. I think it was a 3D printed gun. And a lot of patience. He apologizes for any strife or traumas caused, but insisted had to be done, calling healthcare industry figures parasites who simply had it coming. He criticizes the U.S. for having the number one most expensive healthcare system in the world, while ranking roughly number 42 in life expectancy. And he incorrectly claims United Health is among the largest U.S. companies by market cap, behind only Apple, Google, and Walmart. Is actually 15th. He argues these companies have simply gotten too powerful and abuse our country for immense profit because the public has allowed it. He admits the issue is, this is where I fell out with him. He admits the issue is more complex and that he's not the most qualified to fully argue it. And then he references other
Right.
like Rosenthal. He's probably talking about Elizabeth Rosenthal and Moore, probably Michael Moore. He thinks Michael Moore is the expert on the complex issues behind the healthcare system who have highlighted healthcare corruption. He concludes by calling himself the first to face it with such brutal honesty, framing his actions as necessary confrontation of systemic issues. It also mentions in his document a spiral notebook with additional notes and to-do lists related to the act. So my issue with him all along, I mean, myriad issues, but was that he doesn't know much about it and he doesn't have an answer to fix it at all, but fuck it. We'll just go vigilante justice. Like he's in a DC comic.
And he changed nothing.
Right.
Changed nothing. United Healthcare has a new CEO. Everyone's trucking along as usual. People are getting denied healthcare coverage. So
it's just the
congratulations,
Thompson
Luigi.
kids are growing up without a father.
Exactly. And you know, here's some advice, Luigi, including his attorneys. If you don't want your story to be covered in the news, don't shoot the United Healthcare CEO in downtown Manhattan in broad fucking daylight.
It's a good start.
So like, there you go. If you just murdered some hobo on the street, as you were passing through, probably not going to get a whole lot of attention. But you did something that was a pretty big deal. So don't cry now that, and oh, by the way, if you weren't on the news, you wouldn't have had all these morons donating to you.
Right.
So
it goes both ways.
You're using it as a shield and a sword at this point.
You wouldn't be getting panties mailed to you at the prison.
Yeah.
And I don't even think he was a member of United Healthcare. I don't even think that was his healthcare group. Look, and the fact is, it's what kind of country do you want to live in? Honestly, is what it comes down to me. You can take issue with Elon Musk. You can take issue with Donald Trump. What you can't do is take matters into your own hands and start blowing up stuff and destroying a company from within. You can't. You can have all the issues, and believe me, with as many medical issues as I've had over the last 10 years, I get it. The healthcare system is corrupt. It is fucked up. Hopefully, some people can get into powerful positions right now and work on that stuff. What he's bitching about is there's nothing behind that. It's just, no, you being a single guy who doesn't know all the details, doesn't have any solutions, deciding to 3D print a gun for yourself and murder someone in cold blood. And you did leave a manifesto. I'm sorry you did. When you penned 262 words about why it needed to be done, why it needed to be so brutal and gruesome. I'm the brutal force, first step. Like, yeah, dude, that's not how things are done. Sorry.
You wanted it to be found. It was on you when you were arrested. It's not like you tried to get rid of it. And, not that I'm encouraging any kind of violence or anything like that, but my God, I mean, you walk up and you say, hey, United Healthcare CEO, and you punch him in the nose or something. If you've got this beef with them and you're like, I have rage that I need to unload on you.
and you're willing to take an assault charge
over it. You
don't
take a life. Yeah, exactly. You're willing to take an assault charge and go to jail for a year and whatever. But murder, taking another life is crazy.
Yeah, father with multiple kids. And again, when we dug into it a couple months back, the people that are speaking at United Healthcare paint a picture of a guy that was relatively new to United Healthcare as a CEO and was addressing some of the issues that Mangioni's talking about. Like, it's not lost on them.
And he worked his way up. I mean, he wasn't he wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth and he was the heir apparent to United Healthcare and being their CEO. I mean, he, put himself through school. He worked in several different positions at that company and worked his way up.
Yeah.
So, it's sad and fuck that guy. He should be,
it's crazy.
If you want to support him, that's on you. I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money, but don't go crying when he's spending his life in jail, because that's where he'll be.
Let me do a couple reads and then we'll get to some email. Got a bunch of email today. This part of the show is brought to you by your insurance expert. Are you paying too much for health insurance? Are you uninsured? Health insurance can be confusing. Nick Matthews from Your Insurance Expert is an expert in health insurance, life insurance, Medicare supplements, so you don't have to be. Call Nick today, 248-914-1173. And I did get... I must be, Chris. I must be stoned. It looked like Amy is topless when I opened this. Yeah, it sort of does. If you squint. Yeah, if you drew some.
Yes. If you squint,
If you took some pink Sharpie right now and just did that, and we squinted the whole show, this would be an awesome show. This would funny. Be. Forey sent me an updated read. He took I was like, dude, shorten this thing up. They felt bad. Thank you to them for that. I think it's better. I think it's better when the read is shorter and people don't skip it. I really do. Deer Lake Athletic Club in Clarkston has a full gym, fitness, 3 pools, swim lessons, tennis, pickleball, and more. They offer summer memberships and Kids Day Camp too. The backcourt restaurant inside Deer Lake Athletic Club is open to the public with weekly dinner specials, kids meals for just $5. Fucking bug. On Thursdays, live entertainment on Friday and Saturdays, breakfast on Sundays too. Make your reservation now for their Easter buffet in the Deer Lake Athletic Center. Visit their website, deerlakeathletic.com, for more info on Deer Lake Athletic Club and Banquet Center. All right. Ready for some email? All right.
Sure.
From Michael, I won't keep you hope all is well. The show has been kick-ass with Amy. You guys are killing it. You know where to find me if you need anything.
Aww.
Thanks. You. Amy loves hearing that. So do I. Gary says, hey, Miguel, just thought you'd get a kick out of me trying to talk to Grok like a pal because I never thought to do that. Dude, it's creepy. I think I just worked through some work and personal issues with a robot. Dude, I'm telling you,
Okay, I'm gonna have to try it now. I'm gonna unload on it about being sad and about how I'm fat and my mentors.
It'll be your new girlfriend. It's your girlfriend.
It can be my new mentor.
It's one of those one-sided relationships where it's not like, oh, girlfriend, you think you got it rough? Check out what I've been going through. Like, no, it'll just be there for you. It's great.
Yeah.
He says it also gave me a link on how to fix my guitar playing on Here Comes the Sun. Sorry for the random message, but had to tell you after trying it. Still loving the show, dude. Hope you're doing good. I'm doing very good, Gary. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Laura from, I believe she's from the state of 51. Did you listen to Tim Pool tell the story of him driving his Cybertruck in D.C.? Another driver looked over at him and gave him the thumbs down sign. It's spreading around the country. Wait, was that you or Jay maybe who suggested that become a thing to avoid road rage? Actually, no, that was T-Roy. That was T-Roy's thing. He would give which is hilarious because T-Roy's an absolute maniac on the road as far as road rage, screaming at the steering wheel, rolling down your window, speed. That is T-Roy. Yeah. So the idea that he's going to calm things down, hilarious. But it does work. Yeah. The middle finger absolutely invites a confrontation bigly. Like it does. If you flip someone off, they might absolutely lock them up and get out of the car. And a thumbs down really is like a parent being disappointed in you. Totally. It is people will think twice about their behaviors on the road. If you just pull up at a light and just go, "No, bro, how you're behaving on the road right now gets one of those thumbs down." Start doing it. It's way. This is so like the middle finger is very, it is starting something.
I'm convinced that I'm gonna die in a road rage incident.
Yeah,
that's how I leave this world.
You think so? Are you a road rager?
Not because I follow anybody, but because someone follows me because I gave him the bird or
Are you one of those like honk the horn people? Are you a bird flipper?
If they're really pissing me off, yeah. Like I will lay on the horn forever.
Yeah. I've done that a couple times. Usually
but they have to really piss me off.
Yeah. Or I have to know if I know, like I can take that person. Like if push comes to shove, like if you're a little Asian woman driving like an asshole, I'll lay on the horn for you. But if I glance over and it's like, nah, that guy would fuck me up, I'm just going to leave it be. Him, I could give a thumbs down to, but you got to know who you're attacking. But I've seen some absolute insane Asian women driving in California.
Oh yeah.
And it's just, it's next level. And for them, I don't mind laying on the horn. But anyway, why don't we wrap it there? Again, tomorrow will be a member show on a rare Wednesday, patreon.com/TDC podcast. And then E-Rock on Thursday from the Opie and Anthony show. It's Eric Nagel. Eric Nagel's his name. It's Eric Nagel, I think, is the name of his show. I think he avoids the politics. He's kind of a comic guy and pop culture guy. So you can check that out if you want.
Nice.
And we'll leave it there for the day. Thank you, Amy. AA Ron's a dead man as far as I'm concerned for
you're dead to us, AA Ron.
For at least the day until tomorrow when we need him. But for today, dead to us. We had some brilliant videos to play you. You got to see none of them. I'm sorry.